It's only been a couple of days since the season finale of the Gilded Age, and I'm already having withdrawal symptoms, so I feel like we need to talk about this. Actually, it's made me think about something much bigger. So, welcome back to the channel. We're talking about stage actors in film and TV. If you know me personally, you know that my friends will say that I will fall for anyone standing on a stage, and they're kind of right. I like talented people, and the theater is just overflowing with them. Unfortunately for me, I'm not always in cities with great theater, so I have to turn to film and television, my other great loves, for my dose of talent. But I just keep noticing that I get pulled to these movies and TV shows that cast stage actors. Scenes like this.
Would you want your entire career reduced to one unthinking, boneheaded thing you said in an email? Haven't you ever said anything that later you came to regret when speaking casually?
Or this.
You don't keep Eleanor Roosevelt waiting, Dick!
They turn my friggin' lights on. Lowbrow TV? Maybe. But I have nothing if I don't have range. The problem is that there just aren't enough TV shows and movies casting stage actors. So now this is my cue to do my favorite thing and go into the history of things. It's the reason you subscribe, or should subscribe if you haven't already. So, the stage-to-screen actor pipeline has been the most natural transition in the history of film. It has produced some of the most critically and commercially successful film projects in history. Think All About Eve, Gone with the Wind, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, without even mentioning the countless movie musicals. Yet today when we think about stage actors, an invisible, nearly insurmountable wall stands between them and the screen. Where old Hollywood actors were brought in precisely for their stage credentials, stage actors today are cast in movies and TV despite their theater work. This is breaking with the tradition that started in the 1920s when sound became the latest innovation in the movies. Back then, the addition was not universally welcomed. A lot of the silent film stars were not able to make the transition because they couldn't adapt their voices to the new technology.
Hello, college!
Hilarious, but that's pretty much how it went. But this is where stage actors came in. They had clear diction, experience with complex dialogue, and a ton of prestige that they had acquired over centuries and that they could bring into the movies. Broadway quickly became the casting pool for Hollywood's new stars, and even sometimes the rights of the plays from which they were cast. This is where we got the greats of the talkies: Bette Davis, Katharine Hepburn, Claude Rains, Spencer Tracy. I mean, the list goes on. After that, the following couple of decades were great. They saw a ton of stage-to-screen adaptations, and this created the need to cast actors who could play those really complex characters. Directors like Elia Kazan, Vincent Minnelli, George Cukor, they would go to Broadway and find great talent, and they understood that this is where you got really good, well-trained actors because there weren't as many acting schools as there are today. Then in the 60s and 70s, things started to change a little bit because there was a new wave of filmmakers that rejected this over-the-top acting that was designed to reach the last row in an auditorium. They really favored a more naturalistic performance. And this was the rise of a new generation of film-specific stars, like Faye Dunaway, Steve McQueen, Jack Nicholson. Stage actors still were cast in film and TV, but they would have to do a ton of work to recalibrate for the screen. And this trend continued, and acting schools started offering courses that would support this trend, but also the new TV ecosystem that was emerging, as well as later in the following couple of decades, the rise of franchise and blockbuster filmmaking, especially in the 80s and 90s. And so that brings us to today. Today, the divide is clear. Actors still cross over, but the theater no longer functions as a mainstream pipeline for film and TV casting. And I think that's tragic. Casting stage actors just makes for a better artistic landscape. And not only because of their exceptional talent and incredible discipline acquired through doing 8 live shows a week, but also because stage actors just have really good taste. Think about it. Any stage actor-heavy film or TV show that you've seen, they're unmistakably more elevated than your average project. Succession, The Gilded Age, The Crown, they're just of a different caliber. And this good taste doesn't stop at their choice of projects either, but by extension, also the people they choose to work with. The writers, the directors, the cinematographers, the costume designers, the hair and makeup artists, the editors, the colorists, the sound engineers, and of course the casting people who toe the line brilliantly. I would even extend this good taste to the production companies and the studios that they work with. I am a hardcore fan of A24 and HBO, despite their 17 bajillion rebrands to their streaming platform and the endless mergers that leave you not knowing which studio belongs to which streamer. But they understood the value in producing these critically successful prestige pieces like Angels in America, for example, which really put them on the map as not only producers of fine television, but also producers of critically and commercially viable art. And in the process, they often employ stage actors because stage actors just do really well with this kind of material. I think there's a common misconception that the more artistic, maybe more expensive, more theatrical projects are harder to sell and maybe less popular than the easy, quick shoot, cheap pieces. But The Crown, for example, is one of Netflix's tentpole dramas. Succession is critically and commercially extremely successful. The Gilded Age took a while to pick up, but has since become a word-of-mouth sensation. I mean, all you have to do is go on X and watch people lose their shit over what happened on the show. And you can critique the show's details, the historical accuracy, this sort of thing, but their success is a testament to a job well done. And if you examine the shows that have failed that cast stage actors versus the ones that have succeeded, an overwhelming majority have done really well. Even shows like Fosse Verdon or one of my personal favorites, Feud, yes, their viewership is modest, but they are critically extremely successful and they give a lot of credibility to their makers. I mean, around 70% of Best Actor and Best Actress Academy Award winners since the year 2000 have been actors who have significant stage credentials. And at the Emmys, dramas with stage-heavy casts often outperform in acting categories. Not to mention, they are just a joy to watch. Which brings me to the great Christine Baranski. The actress, not Michael Sheen's appendage.
It's hard for me to say this, but Michael Sheen refers to his penis as the great Christine Baranski.
What? Nothing makes me happier than watching Christine Baranski throw snide remarks at anyone who dares to disagree with her character, Agnes Van Ryn, on The Gilded Age. And nothing titillates me like waiting for Carrie Coon's character Bertha to make her next move, which will no doubt, always, every single time, both annoy and impress her husband George, affectionately and aptly nicknamed Railroad Daddy, played by Morgan Spector. But above all else, I wait with bated breath to catch the rare glimpse of the great First Lady of Broadway, Audra McDonald, and to witness the birth of the next generation of stage-to-screen talents, which have beautifully made the transition. Danae and company, I'm looking at you. Side note, if you have not seen Audra McDonald sing The Glamorous Life, just go do it immediately after this video. But anyway, the bone I have to pick really has less to do with the filmmakers and a lot more to do with national funding for the arts. I spend a ton of time in France, where I have friends who get paid a livable wage by the government to work in the theater. What a novel idea. The difference becomes very clear when you compare countries that have very strong funding for the theater, like the UK, France, Australia, with the US, where that just doesn't exist. In countries where the theater is well funded, the stage-to-screen actor pipeline is so much healthier because actors get sustained high-level work that makes them visible and already known to the public and therefore more attractive to casting. And having a livable wage allows them to keep working on their craft and honing their skills so that they're ready for the screen. In underfunded systems, the burden falls on the actors and success in crossing over becomes a rare and exceptional case. With the announcement of the federal government cutting spending on PBS, our only source of national funding that indirectly supports the stage-to-screen actor pipeline would be gone. The potential shrinking of great performances in Masterpiece means that the already financially precarious US stage actors stand to lose jobs that help them sustain their craft between theater contracts. And with PBS coverage of regional theater threatened, their exposure weakens, and crossovers that were made possible by Masterpiece shows like Downton Abbey will disappear, giving stage actors even fewer avenues to pursue for a transition to screen. While I am a vocal opponent of the donate to help system that allows the government to cut funding where it wants and to reallocate tax dollars away from avenues that really need them, I implore you to donate to causes that will keep the theater well financed, because I want to watch some good TV casting some incredible stage talent. I've put some links in the description, and I'll see you next time.